Oh, you are so pretty. Yes, you are so pretty. Hey you guys, I hope you're all doing well today. Just got a wagging tail in shot at the start of this video. But I'm currently sat in my plant room in 35-degree heat and I'm suffering a little bit. It is so warm. But I've got some planty things that I firstly want to get on with and then secondly need to get on with. I think this is probably going to be quite a propagation focused video today. I've started off a load of propagations recently that I have just been completely ignoring and I'd really like to get them potted up and established as full plants. And then I've got some other things, like for example, this Sansevieria here that I just glanced at this morning and I was like, oh no, something doesn't look right. And then I went like that. And I can see it's completely rotten. So I think I'm gonna be chopping some things up and starting some new propagations and setting some plants up for success in, what am I saying? In their permanent way of growing. So yeah, that's the plan. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learnt over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And yeah, as I always say, if you've got planty stuff to be doing as well, by all means grab it and we can do it together. We can chat through it as we go. And yes, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So if I spin you round, we can have a look at some of the things that need to be done first. Oh, firstly, actually, I know I was talking about chopping up my Scindapsus that was climbing the wall. I did do this. I've got 3 containers like this full of cuttings. And since I put them in water, like the whole plant has perked up. So I'm really glad I did it. It's a shame because the wall at the top now does look quite bare, but I'm hoping, because yeah, that's where it was before, all across there. I'm hoping once it's rooted, I'll be able to set the plant up for success and start it again and hopefully get it growing like that again, because I did really like it. I was just really bad at staying on top of it. So yeah, not going to be touching that today, but I've got loads of Hoya cuttings that actually have rooted really quickly. I've got my Hoya Wilbur Graves here, which has been in water for quite a while, and I know this one's rooted and I just haven't done anything about it, so I'd like to pot that up. That's a Hoya that I absolutely love and just kind of feel like I don't own at the moment because it's just been sat here in water and I've been ignoring it. But then I've got a few others. This one is the one that last time I showed you it, and oh my God, look how well it's rooted. Look at those roots. Yeah, the last time I showed you this one, I was like, I can't remember the name of it. And I did get the name off my friend that I got the plant from. And it's a Hoya Neo Ibudica, I think. I'll put the name on the screen. But yeah, it's growing really nicely. And I think that now, because I've chopped it in so many places, I'll probably be able to get a really lovely full plant going when it is all potted up. And then, in fact, let me just take all the others out and I can talk you through them as we get to them. But the other ones are all Hoyas as well. Yeah. Oh my goodness, they're all doing so well, yay! But my other thought was that instead of potting all of them up together, I could potentially get some of them into this prop box. And this is the one that I did briefly show you before that I am setting up so that hopefully when I get my terrarium cabinet going, I can just have like a big full back wall of plants. So yeah, I'm trying to grow lots of epiphytic plants on just pieces of cork bark and stuff like that, so that they can start to like root in and attach. And some of them, like for example, this Hoya, this is my Hoya Kalimantan, it has started to do that already. So I'm like, maybe I could start some others like that today as well. So yeah, I'm gonna bring this box over, set everything up, and then we can get going. So yeah, this one here that's also been water propping and has also got amazing roots is my Hoya Parasitica Black Margin. And I'm really glad that I reset this plant because again, I do think it's going to be so much fuller. But this is one of the ones that I've actually got loads of sections of. So I thought I would start with this one and I can show you kind of how I'm mounting the Hoyas. Because yeah, I know I am repeating myself and I know I need to just get on and start this project. But the hope is, oh, let's take that one out because that one has rotted. But the hope is, when they are doing it, is that because all of these are epiphytic plants, they will just grip on in the way that they would do in their natural environment. And then I'll be able to build a whole back wall with these kind of plants, and I won't even need to grow them in the soil. They won't grow out of the ground. They'll just grow kind of replicating their own natural conditions. And I wasn't sure if this was going to work, but I was like, I will start it now, and then eventually when I get around to setting up my terrarium cabinet, then I'll kind of be good to go and I won't have to like pin loads of things in place. So yeah, that obviously there is like one piece of cork bark, and I just got that from, I think it was just like a reptile shop. This doesn't actually have the brand on, but I've also got little pieces of cork here, which again are meant for like lizards enclosures and stuff like that. And if you are going to get stuff for plants, that's a really good thing to do, because it isn't like treated with any nasty chemicals. It's not going to have anything that is like bad for the plant's roots, because I think if you're getting like decorative corking pieces for stuff that's not animal based or plant based, then it can come with nasty things. But yeah, the pieces just look like that. And I'm just going to try and find one that's maybe, oh, this is quite a nice one actually. Ooh, that's quite a cool one. So yeah, what I have been doing, and what seems to have worked well so far, is I haven't actually been using sphagnum moss, I've been using Java moss. And this is under the recommendation of Ben from Worcester Terrariums, who, oh my God, if you guys don't know him, he's like the terrarium king. He's written loads of books, he's fantastic. And I was talking to him about this project, and he was like, yeah, Java moss is the stuff that you want to use, which actually, just at first glance, looks very similar to sphagnum moss. But what I've been doing is just like, this is actually a perfect one to show you because there's a little gap in the cork, but I've just been like shoving some moss in an area there. Kind of like that. And then just encouraging the plant's roots, of which this one has many by the looks of it. Oh yeah, let's go for, oh my God, such good roots. Look at those. Yeah, they're amazing. But yeah, just kind of encouraging them into the moss, and then just to kind of seal in the moisture. And I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but it's obviously worked. But I've just been kind of laying some more moss over the top like that. Also, I am wearing shorts. I'm sorry if it doesn't look like I am. It's very warm, guys. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. And then I have just been like laying it flat in the prop box, and then the roots of the plant will just start to like grip on. And then yeah, it will just like continue to do its thing. And what I'm planning on doing is putting loads of like vining branches and stuff like that in there, and then things like Hoya can kind of tendril around them, and hopefully eventually it will just be like this jungle of back wall with flowers, and I really hope it will look gorgeous. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do it with the Hoya parasitica black margin, and maybe I will do it with some of the others as well, but for the time being I'm just going to put this into the prop box with the others and hope that it roots on. This didn't take very long to do, to be honest. It's only been maybe a month or so since I did it, and oh my God, this one's got so many roots. But yeah, loads of them have started to like grip on and do quite well. So yeah, it's working. But I'm just going to set that to one side while I pot up the rest of this plant. And I'm going to do semi-hydro just because I'm really loving growing Hoyas in semi-hydro at the moment. But I've had this bag probably about a month now, and although I did rinse it all when I first got it, I've been like moving the bag around a lot, and obviously that does create quite a lot of dust. So I am just gonna rinse it off again. I just love that sound. It's such a therapeutic sound. It kind of feels like, I don't know, it feels like you're like dipping your hands in the sand or something on a beach. But But yeah, talking of beach, not to make you jealous, but by the time you watch this video, I will probably be on one. I'm going to Mallorca for 5 days with some friends, which I am so excited about. But we are predicted at the time I'm away to have another massive heat wave in the UK. And to be honest, I think 5 days, although I'd kind of like to be here to monitor stuff, I wouldn't have thought there's going to be a huge amount that Ross needs to do during that time. And I know sometimes I say, like, with like potting things up and stuff like that, don't do it right before you go away. But what I think I'm going to do is I think I will get like a baking tray or something, or maybe even the washing up bowl that I water into, and I will put all of my semi-hydro plants into that so that like one water reservoir only has to be filled instead of like loads of them. That's my plan anyway. Also, you can't really see what I'm doing. There we go. But yeah, just a little bit of semi-hydro at the bottom. And then I'm not going to add in a trellis right away. Part of me thinks I should. I need to figure out my Hoya trellising, just because I've got so many that are putting out big long tendrils, and oh, I don't know, there's just so many that I don't like the look of on trellises. And I know obviously you do need to focus on like the health of the plant and doing what the best thing is for the plant, but you also want things to look nice, don't you? So yeah, I know I have asked this before, but do let me know any ideas that you guys have had for like inventive, maybe unusual ways to grow Hoyas. This one can grow as like a hanging plant, but it does have the tendency to tendril, so I guess I could just keep chopping them back and propagating, but it's be a bit firmer with putting these in or falling out. But yeah, for the time being, I think this will do nicely. And what I'll probably do as well, the water that I've used to propagate these plants, I will probably use to fill the reservoir initially, just because I often find that just keeping a little bit of the plant's old environment back and using that to water them initially is just quite a good way to transition them. Probably not essential with things like Hoyas because they are quite robust, but I just find it works quite well. So that is what it's looking like. Already it's looking so much better. And this one only took, I think, about 3 or 4 weeks to root. I think that's when I started these propagations. Yeah, Hoya is so quick to get going. But then this is the one that I still don't have an ID on. So again, if anyone has any theories, please let me know. I did once upon a time know what it was, and I now, for the life of me, cannot remember. I've been back through my old videos and I've been like, have I said it at some point? I'm sure I have. But whatever it is, it's gorgeous. It is one that is tendriling, and I'm like, I probably should, again, do something trellisy with it. But at this stage, I think I'm just going to transfer it, and then I can think about the trellis when I'm home. God, I'm so good at putting things off. But yeah, I can't be bothered to do a load of makeshift trellises today. Roots are gorgeous. It's one of the reasons I love propagating Hoya in water. Like, it's such a satisfying root system to watch develop, and it really doesn't take long. I mean, Hoya is one of these plants that you can pretty much pot into anything and it'll be fine. It's one of the only non-succulents, I know it's a semi-succulent, not complete succulents, that I feel very confident with just propagating straight into soil. And I wouldn't say that about many other plants that aren't like cacti or succulents. Out of interest though, what are you guys propagating at the moment? I've got lots of very full prop boxes that I just put the lid on and don't go back to for so long, and I'm like, there's so many things that I need to pot up and I need to be doing. But the latest one is obviously, that's done, my Pallidiflorum seeds, and so many of them. In fact, I think all of them now are rooting. And I was sending out loads of berries to people on my Patreon, and then all of a sudden I was like, I'm out of berries, I'm going to need to delve into the seed box. And I was like, how do I do this now? They're all rooting. So what I've been doing is I've been sending them out like in these little plastic capsules. Obviously, like the entire capsule, if it was together, probably wouldn't fit in an envelope, but I've just been using half ones and essentially making like little prop boxes in there with the seeds, taping the top, and you can see the humidity in there. And it seems to have been working quite well. I just typed in like plastic capsules on Amazon. So yeah, if you've got rooting seeds, that is so far how I would recommend doing it. I've never sent out anything this like fragile before, but it does seem to be working. I am, however, a little bit worried again this week because it's so warm, because I'm like, if that sphagnum moss dries out, it's probably gonna dry out the root system as well, and they are so delicate when they're that young. Oh, okay, but then the Wilbergraves, this is water that I will not be reusing. This one has been water cropping for so long, too long. And actually, you know what? I kind of expected it to have better roots for the time it's been cropping. I mean, they're okay, but yeah, I mean, they're all right, but arguably they're like not as good as some of the ones that haven't been propping for as long. But I think this is maybe one that I'd like to try and again mount onto some cork bark and get into that box, because I think the Wilbergraves, I'm trying to find a nice section of it, but because it's so splashy and so beautiful, well, maybe I'll do two. Just looking at these two little splashy leaves. Aren't they lovely? I'm trying to just go for like variety and diversity on the back wall, and I think they'd look really nice. So again, find a good bit of bark. Oh, I like that bit. Again, that's got lots of crevices and like options to put moss. And I will eventually build like the entire backboard with cork bark, and then like, yeah, things can just continue to climb. I was thinking things like shingling plants in there as well would look really gorgeous. But now I'm happy with those two little pieces. Encouraging the roots into the moss in the same way kind of as you would do a moss pole. And I could absolutely like use some transparent fishing line or something like that to just secure them in place. And you never know, I might still do that at first, just so that things don't fall. But yeah, obviously just holding them in place for now. But again, I think that looks really, really lovely. So yeah, again, into the prop box it goes. Just running out of room in here. And then I've got one quite small pot here. Yeah, actually I think I might leave the smaller Hoya to do in that one. I actually am running really low on small pots. I think just because I don't use them that much, or they don't have much lifespan with them, like I'll whiz through them very quickly. And so I do tend to just kind of get rid of them. Just a reminder that I should keep them. And I'm just trying to spread the cuttings out in the pot as much as I can, because again, immediately that's going to make it look much fuller than it is, and it just allows it a little bit more space to grow. It's still a little bit sparse, but yeah, I think that will do well. But actually, I think one of the reasons these ones have propped so well and so quickly, and actually the reason that so many of my Hoyas in that area are doing so well, is just because that is a spot, I'll spin you around so you can see, that is a spot that gets such good sun. This room only gets a little bit of sun every single day, but like that's where I've been doing my propagating under the table, and then on top of the glass table I have got several Hoyas at the back, and they are just growing like weeds at the moment. So yeah, it is, like, I do find it very motivating when I'm seeing very good and like fast growth to actually kind of keep on top of things a little bit more. But I have just got a lot to figure out with my Hoyas. I think because they are such easygoing plants a lot of the time, I can find myself overlooking them a little bit. And actually that's one of the reasons why I chopped so many of them up, because I was like, I need to start afresh. But it always feels quite nice to come back to them and be like, okay, cool, reset, let's go. But then this little one is my Hoya David Cummingii. Yeah, really, really lovely. This is actually a small section of mine and a small section of Emma's, because she was getting rid of her little one a while ago. One section, there's one section here that's looking a bit frazzled actually. I'm going to bin that, I think. I don't think there's much coming back from that. But the other ones should make a nice little plant. Because I haven't got much of this plant, I'm going to do it in this small pot, and I'm not going to get any onto cork. But I can always take more cuttings once the plant's grown a little bit. Really love the length of the leaves of this plant. It's almost a little bit like the Hoya Waietier, but like it doesn't have the banana-y leaves. I always think of the Waietiers like bananas, but it's so pretty. Yeah, really gorgeous. And then the final Hoya I've got is the one that I showed you at the beginning, which is the Hoya Neo-Ibudica. And I'll put some pictures of this one's flowers on the screen because I've never personally seen it flower. But my friend Lottie that I got it off said that apparently I think they're either white or yellow, and she said they were gorgeous. And I'd really like to aim to get more of my Hoyas flowering. I was going to say this year, that might be a bit ambitious now, but I don't know, I haven't had that many bloom for me this year. My Hoya Australis Lisa keeps looking like it's going to. It's got loads of peduncles. Again, I think trellising is probably the answer. But one that I always wish would flower for me is my Hoya Gracilis, because I've got two of those and one of them is in this space here and it grows like a weed. And in theory, it makes me think that like because it's giving me such fantastic growth and it's obviously so happy, it should be giving me peduncles as well, and it's never flowered for me. So yeah, if any of you are getting your Gracilises to flower, how are you doing it? Perfect. Yeah, doesn't that look lovely? I feel like just from the size of this one's leaves already, it probably has the potential to get quite big. I hope it does. Yeah, it's so lovely. And for the ones that I've just potted up, I know I was saying about like a tray of water or something, but I've got a spare prop box that usually has my semi-hydro in it that I'm not using at the moment. So I'm thinking if I just fill some water in here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop the ones in that I've just potted up. I'm going to use the clean water that I've got from when they were propagating. I'm just going to pour that in. This one as well. I'm just going to add a little bit more water just to cover the bottom layer. Yeah. And I mean, in theory, I could even close the lid on that now, and it obviously would just then be a little prop box with good humidity and everything, but I think that should be okay for the time being, and they can stay in the exact spot they were in before, so their conditions haven't changed, and I think that should set them up really nicely. But then coming on to the ones that aren't doing well, I know I've already shown you the Sansevieria. The other one, very sadly, is one of my favourite plants, and it's my Manjula Pothos. I'll take it down so I can show you. Yeah, this one is dropping leaves like crazy. So I've noticed the leaves over the last few days starting to turn, and usually if it's just like one or two, I don't really bat an eyelid because that can just happen, but like I'm just picking off leaves here, which is so sad. And honestly, I think what has happened here, I know I said recently that I was having a day where I was just really struggling to like just pick up the watering can and go around and deal with things, and I was like, I just grabbed it and I did like a speed water. I didn't check reservoirs, I didn't monitor soil. It's never what I recommend, guys. This is why I do say to monitor your plants. But yeah, I was just in a bit of a rut, and I was like, if it comes down to the plant dying or not getting watered, I'm just going to water them. So I think this one, I suspect this one has got root rot. And obviously the snake plants that I showed you as well, that one clearly has also started to rot. So yeah, I'm just gonna take off the leaves that clearly aren't bouncing back, and then I can decide whether or not I want to chop. I'm really sad actually, because I was loving the way that this plant was like trailing over things. I really have enjoyed watching this plant set up in this way. And maybe it'll be savable without having to chop it up, but it's already got areas that are starting to look quite sparse. So let's get it out and have a little look. Obviously root rot is, oh yeah, God. I can say obviously it's less common when you grow in semi-hydro, but I do always say you need to make sure that you are monitoring the reservoir, and I think this one probably dried out for way too long, and then I kind of drowned the plant. Yeah, look at all those roots at the bottom. See how black and sludgy they are. Yep, that is why this is happening. So let's just get the plant out and see what can be done. Oh, it is also crazily root bound. And you know what? Okay, there are quite a lot. Oh God. Okay, there's a lot of healthy roots in here. As you can see, it's like holding the semi-hydro together, but then at the bottom, it's really black and sludgy. So I'm gonna just put that semi-hydro there to one side because that hasn't got any nasty dead roots in. And then I'm gonna just slot another pile here where I assume, yeah, the root's just gonna fall off. Oh yeah. I actually suspect the main issue here is actually not the root rot, but the fact that the plant is so root bound. Because yeah, I had no idea it had so many roots. Yeah, I've actually pulled away very easily pretty much all of the sludgy ones, and what I'm left with is really, really lovely. But it's just a little bit crazy. And I know vining plants can be quite sensitive when you mess with their root systems too much. So in fact, I'm going to use the bowl of water I've got here, and I'm not going to like fully break up the root system. I'm just going to like wash them a little bit. If I need to do a bit of root pruning after this, I will. And then I need to make the decision whether or not I purely size up in pots or I take some more cuttings as well, because I ideally don't want loads of empty stretches of vine. I think when a plant gets this root bound as well, like the moisture just doesn't travel up through the semi-hydro as much, because obviously the bottom section of the roots is going to be like feeding on all the water. I think I'm happy with that. So we're obviously going to need to get a much bigger pot now. This is obviously a fairly significant pot size up compared to what it was in, but I do think the plant needs it. I think this is probably about 14 centimetres, and that's what it was in before. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to pot it up, and then I'm going to see if there's any points that I need to take cuttings. I am going to go back in with chunky semi-hydro. It has worked really well for this plant up until recently, and I hope I won't have to do too many cuts. But yeah, let's do one thing at a time. And because I can't see any of the roots that I've got here that are still affected, like everything looks really healthy, I'm not going to go in and do like a hydrogen peroxide treatments or anything. If it was like, if the rot had spread, then I would. But to be honest, I expected these to be in a worse state than they actually are. Okay, so before I fill it all the way up, I need to decide if I'm going to chop. Oh, this is the one that's really sparse. It's got loads of gaps. This one I think is fine. This section actually hasn't lost any leaves. Oh, but this is the one that I've been trailing and it's been looking so lovely. What do I do? What do I do? I'm fighting in my mind right now as to whether or not I want to lose the trailiness, but then over time, obviously be able to create a much fuller plant. But this one also isn't the quickest to grow. It's not slow, but it's not one of my fastest. I think what I'm gonna do, okay, I think what I'm gonna do, and this might sound like a weird decision, but I think I'm gonna keep the sparse vine. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep the sparse vine. And I'm gonna keep this one, and then the healthiest vine, I think I'm gonna take some cuts from. That might sound ridiculous, but only because these two are like functional vines. Like I've got them, like one's going around the window, the other's going around a picture. And if I take loads of cuts from this healthy vine and propagate them, like start the propagation now, they can be rooting while I'm away, and then when I get home I can pop them back up into this, and then over time the whole pot will fill out, and I won't notice the sparseness as much with that vine. Or if I do notice it and it's bothering me, then I can take cuts from that as well. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing it. Ah, okay. Right, that is a lovely, lovely cut. So let's just fill some more semi-hydro on top of this. What I am going to do as well, yeah, what I'm going to do as well with this straggly vine, because it's straggly at the bottom here, I'm just actually going to wind it round in the pot. I'm going to lay some semi-hydro over the top so that hopefully all of those little aerial roots can be activated, and they will start putting out growth as well. If you do this with soil, a lot of the time a little trick is to use like a hairpin or something to hold them in place. But seeing some using semi-hydro, and that is quite weighty, I think I should just be able to kind of use it to weight the vines down. Fingers crossed that works. And then yeah, I could just fill a little reservoir in the decorative pot, which I'll do in a minute. But before then, let's get clean water and chop up this lovely vine. Oh, I feel sad now. No, it's the right decision. So I've also just rinsed out one of the vessels I was using for the Hoyas. I've also got a big tall one here. And I don't know, I'm going to take the cuttings first. I think I might be able to get away with the smaller one actually. Thank you, Yoli. But I think I'm just going to take like 2 node cuts at a time, like that. And then the lower leaf, I will obviously remove. That one's on its way out anyway. And then that bit there is the bit that will be submerged in the water, and you can already see the little point it'll start to root from. So I'm just going to place that into an empty container to start with, and I'll see whether or not at the end I think I should go with the bigger one or the smaller one. It's always so sad having to remove the lower leaves, but obviously if you don't do this, you do risk the plant rotting, and I don't want that to happen. One's got a fantastic aerial root. See the size of that already? That will root in no time. Okay, so I definitely don't think I need to use the bigger one. Yeah, so that's what it's looking like. I'm just going to fill it all the way up to the top with water. And again, I'll keep it on the windowsill exactly where this plant was growing before, because otherwise, conditions-wise, it's been fine for it. And I really hope that when I'm home next week, I will have some roots, but I'll let you know how it's getting on. Oh, and yeah, fill a little reservoir for the main mother plant as well. Perfect. I'm not sure if this is going to be too heavy to hang now. It may well be, because this is just balancing on the curtain pole. Should we, oh, I was going to say, should we try it? I don't even have a hanger, because this was obviously a hanging pot, so I'm going to have to do that afterwards. Unless I have a hanger to hand. Okay, so I do have a hanger, but I'm firstly just going to see how much weight I think I can put on this. Feels pretty sturdy, and it's got a bit of bend in the middle, but it's screwed into the wall, it should be fine. Famous last words. But yeah, I've got a little macrame hanger, so I'm just going to pop the pot into that, and then we will see if that will work. In fact, you know what? I'm going to put the pot in and then put the plant in. I think that's going to be easier. Okay. Oh, that's pretty heavy. Do this carefully. Okay. Okay, it does feel like it's going to be fine. So I'm going to just go ahead and put the vines back how I want them. Okay, I think we're in the clear. And then coming back to the plant that I showed you at the beginning, my Sansevieria, this one, I love this plant so much. And again, like I said about the Manjula, I think when I was going around with my watering can, I just went a little bit too heavy on this one without letting it drain properly. And oh, this is such a shame. It has got pups in the soil as well, but even those are rotten at the bottom. So I'm gonna do my best to take some leaf cuttings of this one and try and save it. Oh my God, just look at that. Yeah, I wonder if these pups, oh, okay, maybe this one here might be savable. Let's start with the leaf cuttings. Obviously, the bits that have rotten cannot be propped. In fact, like even going close to those bits would just encourage the plants to rot even more. So I'm gonna chop about there, I think. And I'm gonna leave this to callus over. Oh, I actually don't even know if that will work. I'm gonna leave it to callus over for maybe a couple of hours. Do the same with these ones as well. Like there. And what I will probably do, that one, I think I'd be cutting too high. I think that's too far gone. What I'm probably going to do is I will prop all of these sections in slightly different containers. Oh no, none of these leaves are savable. No! Oh, this is so sad. Okay, these ones, I can do something with these ones. Yeah, I'm going to prop them in slightly different containers, so that if one does start to rot, it's not going to bring down the others. It's typical, this is happening right before I go away. But yeah. I'm also going to cut a few, just following the natural kind of pattern of the leaf in more of a V shape, because I have propped Sansevieria like that before, and it works quite well. So yeah, it's such a beautiful one. I'm so gutted about this. And then let's see if one of these little pups might be savable. Typical, I've been looking at this plant for ages thinking I must divide these ones, I must take them out. Oh, okay. I mean, one's not, but this one here. So the base is quite squishy, but what I might be able to do, because it has got some little roots, if I just chop, and just by smelling it, you can kind of tell. Okay. I think that might be okay, you know. Although I've just lost the roots, I think that might be all right, because it doesn't feel squelchy. So what I think I'll do with this section, again, I'm gonna leave it for just like an hour or so, just to callus, and I think I will probably prop this one in sphagnum moss, and the cups that I've taken just here, I think I will put them in different containers, but I think I'll do them in water. That seems to have been the best way to do things before for Sansevieria for me. But yeah, and in fact, while I'm doing things to Sansevieria, one thing that has been outside for ages and is really, really sad, is my Sansevieria metallicum. I don't know why it's outside. I've just got plants outside that I can't deal with. In fact, I'll show you them. Come with me. So that whiskey barrel will eventually, hopefully, be a water butt. But I've got some, this one Hoya macrophylla. This one, in fact, I'm going to move it out of full sun, and I'm going to put it on the table over here instead. But yeah, I've got a few that were out here for pest reasons that I just haven't brought back in, and it's been a while. But the one that I really want to chop up and restart is my Sansevieria metallica. It's looking so sad. But I'm like, if I'm doing Sansevieria cuttings, there's definitely, like, look at that leaf. I can definitely get some cuttings out of that. So yeah, let's chop this one up as well. So this one actually was never pesty, so that's good. I've just given it a little look over and I can't see anything to worry about. The reason that it's outside is, I think, just laziness. I put it outside on the day that I did the big houseplant reset in my collection, and I've just kind of been looking at it, and in fact, I think the reason it's gone horrible like this is because it is so overwatered, which makes me think again, it's probably root rot. And also, like, it just wasn't growing that well for me. It was growing more like sparse and leggy. So again, I'm just gonna take some cuts. And again, I think I'm gonna follow the line of the leaf like that. I mean, that is actually a lovely cutting. And this feels so succulent and like healthy. I have no doubt that this will in fact root. Chop away some of the browning. And again, I will give these some time to callus. But then I think this should be all right. And actually, you know what? This is something that I kind of needed to do anyway. And obviously I'm aware I've just brought this plant straight in from outside. Probably shouldn't have done that, but here we are. What I'm tempted to do actually with the rest of this plant is maybe, seeing as we are about to enter a heat wave, I might just put this section back outside. I've got my bits that I'm going to propagate just here, and that can be my full plant. So this is kind of like my backup. And then who knows, maybe this one, seeing as it is a succulent, will thrive in the hot weather and maybe it will do great things. I'm not sure about that, but I'm happy with the cuts that I've got. So yeah, as I say, I'm going to leave them for an hour, a couple of hours. And I think I'll probably go in with water. That tends to be my go-to, apart from this little section of the diamond, and that one I'll do in moss. So yeah, cool. That's everything I wanted to get through today. So I really hope if you were doing stuff as well, you managed to get lots done. I feel like this was a very kind of like hone-in plant focus, not too much other chat kind of video. I think I just needed to get on and get through things today, to be honest, but I'm happy with what I've done. So yeah, as I say, hope you got lots done too. And if you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.
Stay sexy, plant lovers.